Johnny Carson once revealed the 8 most beautiful women ever on his show. For 30 years, Johnny Carson invited America into his television home each night, introducing viewers to thousands of celebrities from every corner of entertainment. But behind that familiar desk, Carson wasn't just conducting interviews. He was studying human behavior with an almost scientific precision. Johnny noticed things about people that even they didn't know about themselves, revealed a longtime Tonight Show producer who worked alongside Carson for over a decade. He could read micro-expressions, catch the smallest details in how someone carried themselves. And when it came to beautiful women, Johnny's observations were particularly thorough. In his later years, after retiring from the spotlight, Carson occasionally shared private insights with close friends about the parade of celebrities who had crossed his stage. During one such evening at his Malibu home, after several glasses of high-end scotch had loosened his typically guarded demeanor, Carson surprised his guests by naming what he considered the 8 most extraordinarily beautiful women ever to appear on his show. It wasn't just about conventional beauty, explained someone who was present that night. Johnny talked about presence, that indefinable quality that made the cameras love certain women, that made the studio audience hold their breath, that occasionally made even television's most polished professional momentarily lose his train of thought. He spoke about not just stunning physical attributes, but the unique qualities he observed during their unforgettable appearances on television's most prestigious stage. He began with the woman he once described as having the kind of beauty that makes time stop, an actress whose mere entrance into the studio caused the legendary host to momentarily forget his own name. Raquel Welch was the woman who owned every room. When Raquel Welch walked onto the Tonight Show stage for the first time in 1970, something extraordinary happened. Johnny Carson, television's most controlled and controlling host, was momentarily speechless. For a man whose career was built on unshakable professional polish, those few seconds of visible discomfort spoke volumes about the overwhelming impact of Welch's presence. She appeared multiple times and always left the audience breathless, remembered a camera operator who worked many of her appearances. The reaction was physical. You could feel the collective intake of breath when she walked out. The camera positioned to capture the guest entrance would linger because everyone knew no one would complain. What made Welch's appearances particularly memorable wasn't just her extraordinary physical beauty, though that was undeniable, but the confidence with which she carried herself. Unlike many gorgeous actresses who downplayed their looks with self-deprecating humor or affected modesty, Welch moved with an unapologetic awareness of her effect on others. Carson once said off camera that she didn't enter a room, she took it over, and he meant it as high praise. Johnny had a special appreciation for guests who understood their own power and wielded it deliberately. Raquel knew exactly what she was doing every second she was on camera, her timing, her gestures, even the way she crossed and uncrossed her legs. It was like watching a master class in how to own a television appearance. This mastery extended beyond merely looking stunning to an intuitive understanding of how to create memorable television moments. Before media training became a science, Welch demonstrated a natural grasp of how to make the most of her time on Carson's couch. She brought sharp wit, interesting stories, and a subtle flirtation with Johnny that made their chemistry jump off the screen. She understood that beauty might get you invited, but personality got you invited back. Behind the scenes, her appearances created organized chaos among the staff, with crew members finding creative excuses to be on set. Johnny noticed and joked about it, and even he occasionally struggled to maintain his composure during her interviews. Despite those moments, what Carson admired most was her intelligence and self-awareness. She made peace with her image and used it strategically to build a substantial career. Johnny appreciated that authenticity deeply and treated her with respect, asking thoughtful questions and engaging her as someone with real insight, creating interviews that balanced substance with undeniable tension. From American glamour, Carson shifted to European sophistication embodied by an Italian screen legend whose presence created a masterclass in sensuality without saying a word. When Sophia Loren made her first appearance on The Tonight Show in 1979, the atmosphere transformed. She brought not just extraordinary beauty, but old-world sophistication and sensual maturity that felt distinct from Hollywood glamour. Her entrance alone, confident and regal, announced she was no ordinary guest. Carson was visibly flustered, his body language shifting in ways those who knew him well immediately recognized. He leaned forward, laughed a little too enthusiastically, adjusted his tie. All subtle tells that Johnny Carson was genuinely affected. Loren's thoughtful, occasionally provocative responses, delivered in an Italian accent that turned simple observations into poetry, created a dynamic that challenged Carson in the best way. She brought intensity, locking eyes with him, making it a struggle to maintain his usual composure. What fascinated Carson was the contrast between her smoldering screen persona and her philosophical conversational style. Instead of just a sex symbol, she revealed intelligence, artistic perspective, and lived experience shaped by war-torn Italy and European cinema. Behind the scenes, her appearances inspired reverent respect rather than chaos. The crew treated her like royalty, mindful not just of her beauty but of her stature as a global film icon. Carson balanced admiration for her looks with genuine respect for her accomplishments, asking thoughtful questions about her work and experiences. Their conversations carried depth wrapped in warmth and mutual admiration, revealing a guest who was both breathtaking and intellectually compelling. Next came an all-American freshness that literally silenced the studio. When Bo Derek made her first appearance in late 1979, shortly after the release of 10, the studio audience fell into stunned silence. It wasn't applause, but awe, forcing Carson to pause before speaking. Even those who had seen the film weren't prepared for her impact in person. There was something about her beauty in 3 dimensions that cameras couldn't capture. Unlike many overnight sensations, Derek brought a natural, unaffected presence. Carson later said she threw him off his rhythm, not because of anything she said, but because of the disconnect between her extraordinary looks and her ordinary, grounded demeanor. The entire studio was transfixed. Cameras lingered, staff hovered, and the room was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning. Behind the scenes, Derek arrived without demands, entourage, or rehearsed talking points. Her authenticity immediately resonated with Carson, who valued genuine personality over performance. He remarked that she had no idea how beautiful she was, which made her twice as beautiful. She spoke about her sudden fame with bewildered honesty, and Carson appreciated that she wasn't leveraging her looks strategically.